We all had to wear the yellow star on our outerwear.
Aggie Adler will never forget the yellow star that stripped away her identity.
Very humiliating and very frightening, because if for any reason you forgot to put it on or you didn't wear it right, you might have gotten into problems.
At her home in Great Neck, Long Island, Aggie tells us she was only 7 years old when Germany invaded Hungary in March of 1944. She was an only child to her parents Julia and Imre. Life was peaceful and happy for them in the city of Budapest until all hell broke loose.
And people on the countryside, most of them were taken to concentration camp and very few came back.
In just 8 weeks, from May to June of 1944, approximately 440,000 Jews were deported from Hungary to Auschwitz. Before that, Aggie's father had been taken to a different Nazi camp where he endured forced labor and later died of illness as a prisoner. Aggie's mother, Julia, miraculously secured a safe hideout for the two of them.
You couldn't get in there only if you had a special paper. It's called a Schutzpass. It's a German word, which made you eligible to these protected buildings.
A Schutzpass was a protective passport that Swedish diplomat Raoul Wallenberg issued to around 4,500 Jews in Hungary during the war. Wallenberg was posthumously honored as a righteous among the nations by Yad Vashem, Israel's Holocaust memorial. It's the highest title bestowed upon non-Jewish individuals who risked their lives to help Jews during the war.
Of course, there was a lot of money exchanged between the Wallenberg and the Germans in order to make that deal.
A selfless hero who Aggie credits to saving her life. Despite their immense luck, life inside these protected buildings, referred to as international ghettos, was still deplorable, and the fear of death always lingered.
I remember that one day we were very scared because we found a bomb on the terrace. But luckily it was a bomb which did not explode.
Aggie, her mother Julia, and about 40 others were crammed into one small apartment. Food and medicine were scarce.
My mother developed pneumonia, and she was very, very sick. And which I also don't understand to this day, that among the 40 people there wasn't a doctor, but apparently there wasn't, I don't know.
It's a miracle that Aggie and her mother lived to tell their testimonies. For Aggie's late husband, George, also a survivor from Budapest, his family wasn't so lucky. They were living in a different nearby protected building and thought they would be safe.
And in spite of all the protection, the Hungarian Aerocross came in. Everybody was supposed to go down to the courtyard. My husband, he begged to be with his mother, but his mother said, no, you stay on the other side. The mother was taken to Bergen-Belsen and never came back, but my husband survived.
All these years later, the horrors still haunt her, and so do the atrocities of October 7th. This grandmother of 3 finds it hard to feel hopeful with the rampant rise of anti-Semitism we're seeing across the globe.
It's unthinkable. We thought that will never happen again, and it might happen again.
Still, she's grateful to be here and understands how different her fate could have been. She speaks at synagogues and also to students throughout the year on behalf of our center in Glen Cove, HMTC. She's hoping to educate the next generation.
And that's Michelle.
Very nice to see you. How are you?
Aggie also had the unique chance to rewrite a letter in this Torah which barely survived World War II. She signed it in memory of her father, Imre.
Everybody has a different story. Thank God my story is not so terrible. I personally, and my husband personally, we didn't have that much of a hardship, and we were never in a camp, and so I'm very, very grateful.
And that statement is why Aggie is so exceptional. Her childhood and her father were stolen from her, and Aggie says her story is not so terrible. The fact that this story isn't considered a terrible one when you compare it to the murders of millions of innocent people in gas chambers and other executions just shows the full scope and horrors of the Holocaust. May we never forget the lessons learned from that time in history, and let us always keep Aggie's legacy alive. In Great Neck, Long Island, Dana Arshin, HMTC.